I can do MMA, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to just be wrestling or they do sambo.
Yeah.
Which is as perfect a base for mixed martial arts as you can find.
Yeah.
Because they're punching and kicking each other and stuff already and grappling and doing everything. So
it's a very good base. It's a little weird that they're
It's
wearing
weird.
a jacket.
they're wearing the gi.
And
Yeah, they're wearing the
shorts.
gi top, shorts. But
And
it's like,
shoes.
at least they're,
Some of them.
you and I agree, wrestling is the foundation
Yes.
because of the training and everything else. But in terms of what closest with the kind of striking, or at least the playing of the striking in sambo, that's as good in terms of preparing you for mixed martial arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's awesome. I got that little rant you go on about wrestling. That plays daily in my school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They love that.
Oh,
the
that's
kids love that
awesome.
because that's the truth.
It's the truth. If you want to build a strong foundation, even just as a human being, wrestling is where you figure out how tough you are, how much you can push, how much you can deal with discomfort. No one trains harder than wrestlers.
I think everybody should wrestle, and I think everybody should have some sort of fight in their life. Some sort of fight. It could be in a gym, a sparring match. I'm talking a fight. It could be sparring. I think every human being, if they do themselves justice, has some sort of interaction against another human being where it's a bit of a fight. You have to. I think once you do that, you can do anything because then you're not afraid. You cannot be afraid, man. That's like my biggest thing to my kids is like, you cannot be afraid because people smell that shit on you. If you're afraid, people smell that shit on you and they treat you a certain way. You cannot be afraid. I think everybody should have at least one sort of fight, whether it's sparring, whether it's an exhibition fight, whether it's a high-intensity jiu-jitsu match, whether it's a high-intensity wrestling match. I think you should have some sort of competition in your life that pits you against another individual. I think we all need it.
Imagine if we had that as like mandatory service in the country.
Yeah. Could you imagine? We'd be
Imagine-
stronger as a country.
But imagine if, like, you know how Xi Jinping is trying to make Russia more, or excuse me, China more manly.
What's
Have you
he
seen
doing?
that?
No, I haven't.
I don't know. They're trying to promote more manliness.
Yeah.
In China, if someone tried to do that in America, and they said, well, the way we're going to implement this is we're going to have mandatory combat sports participation
At some
for
point
all
in your
males.
life. At some point in your life, you do that.
Could you imagine if they did that?
And hey, I'm telling you, we'd be better for it.
I think we would.
We would be better for it.
I think we would.
Because then, let's see this.
2 years ago, the country's censors began to blur earrings and colored hair on male celebrities. Oh, earrings, sorry. Earrings and colored hair on male celebrities appearing on television. Earlier this year, the Education Ministry announced a plan to cultivate masculinity in schoolboys, including hiring more gym teachers and promoting sports.
But it says after America, right? After America must be trying to, it's China's turn to worry about masculinity. So they're saying that our country
Click on
is,
that.
right?
Click on that. What is that saying? That seems like a strange thing to say.
After America, right?
If you follow the disastrous denouement of America's 2-decade occupation in Afghanistan, is that the word? Did I say that word right?
No idea what that is.
I don't know what that word is. Have you wondered why the world's only superpower has an affliction for distant wars? What is it that compels it to drag its military halfway across the world? What is the origin of its interventionist instincts? What is he saying here? Reading a lot into this.
But it's saying that, look, in this scheme of things.
Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
It's about Roosevelt. In Roosevelt's scheme of things, imperialism was a necessary manly duty that American men needed to take up or risk letting the reins of global power be seized by a more manful race. Sickly and asthmatic in his childhood, Roosevelt had continued to endure attacks on his manliness into his youth as he started out in politics, with newspapers lampooning his high-pitched voice and dandy clothes. Oh, yeah, dandy clothes. For the exquisite Mr. Roosevelt, forceful public exhortations to wage foreign wars was an exercise in radical image makeover. Oh, interesting. So they were saying they were picking on his manliness, so he decided to go wage wars.
Yes.
They bullied him.
They bullied him, right? But hey, you know what stops bullying? You know what stops bullying? You knowing how to defend yourself, right? And that's why, I mean, the Chinese, they said they're not showing colored hair or earrings anymore. But if we are all forced to wrestle or do jiu-jitsu or do boxing, at least early in our lives, you develop that foundation for strength. You develop that foundation for standing up for yourself. You develop the foundation for not just accepting things that shouldn't happen. It really is. I think everybody should have it, man. I think it's so good for you to have that experience where you stare across from another human being and you know that it will be on you with no weapons to go out and win. Whether it's pinning them, whether it's submitting them, whether in a boxing, it's like outpointing them in a boxing fight. I think that we should all have some sort of competition with another human being.
I think it was real good for me.
Yeah.
I think it's real good for a lot of people. I don't want to say that everybody should do it, but
think about it,
most
Dojo.
people should do
Where
it.
would it hurt? Where would it hurt? Tell me what it would hurt for someone to do a jiu-jitsu match or a wrestling match
You
or a
could
boxing
get
match.
injured.
I'm talking you do it young, though.
Yeah.
If you wait until you're like my age, or and then maybe we get hurt. But
Yeah.
young, if we all if you're in elementary school, it's like okay, for a month you got to do wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the things in school. Most schools don't even have wrestling anymore.
Is that true?
Yeah, a lot of kids
moving them
like
out?
they're moving. Like a lot of teams, they don't have teams. Let's have jiu-jitsu in schools. Let's have these things in schools.
I think I've said this many times. I think that would stop bullying.
I think we put these in schools and just give these kids a month.
Let me say it wouldn't stop bullying. I think it would significantly reduce episodes of bullying.
And I think if we did jiu-jitsu and those sports in school, even for young girls, they're safer,
Yes.
right? They
sure.
they understand how to defend themselves. I think it's so important.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Everyone should know something about
Everybody
how to
should
defend
know
yourself.
something about
Yeah,
combat. Because you're not always going to have the ability to get to something to help you.
Exactly.
You got to be able to do it with your hands and with your feet and
Yeah.
everything else.
And it's just a better thing to have and not need than to need and not have.
Yes.